My name's Ava Leigh, 23, freshly out of grad school in communications. I'm sharp-tongued when pushed, but usually the quiet observer. I'd landed my dream internship at a mid-sized PR agency, except from day one, it was clear my age was considered a weakness. What they didn't know? I'd already freelanced under the radar for years, and some of the industry's most demanding clients had quietly relied on me when their big shots couldn't deliver. When I first walked into the glass-walled office for the interview, I felt every eye linger a second too long. Not admiration, skepticism. My interviewer, Mr. Callahan, scanned my resume and smirked. Fresh out of school? You think you can handle our level of clients? His tone wasn't curious, it was dismissive. I sat straight, smiling politely. I've handled freelance projects with tight deadlines and high-stakes brands, I said, listing a few anonymized examples. He chuckled, leaning back. Experience matters more than enthusiasm, kid. The word kid stung like a paper cut, sharp and unexpected. The room felt smaller, his laugh echoing. I wanted to fire back about my secret gigs, where I'd turned failing campaigns around overnight. But I held my tongue. If they hired me, I'd prove it. They did, barely. As I left, I promised myself, if they underestimated me, I'd let results speak louder than years on a calendar. Little did they know, my youth hid an arsenal of skills they desperately needed. First week in, I wasn't given accounts, projects, or even a spreadsheet. I was asked to pick up coffee orders. Everyone starts here, Mr. Callahan said with a wink. But I noticed, the other interns were given small research tasks. Why was I the only one treated like the delivery girl? I dashed to the cafe daily, memorizing preferences, black for Callahan, latte for the seniors. It grated, this menial loop, while others brainstormed in meetings. My grad school smarts wasted on foam art. But I kept notes. Always keep notes, times, tasks, snide comments like, don't spill it, newbie. One afternoon, carrying a tray, I overheard Callahan, she's green, but cheap labor. Laughter followed. My cheeks burned, but I delivered with a smile. Inside, anger simmered. I'd freelanced for brands bigger than this agency, fixing messes they couldn't. Now, reduced to this? At home, I reviewed my secret portfolio, campaigns that saved reputations. This internship was my foot in the door, but the pain of being sidelined stung. I'd bide my time, observe. Their underestimation was my edge. Soon, they'd need me more than coffee. At the morning meeting, I overheard two senior associates mocking me. She looks like she should still be an undergrad, one whispered. Clients would laugh if we put her in front of them. My stomach clenched, but I smiled and asked if anyone needed refills on water. The words looped in my head, a gut punch. I'd dressed professionally, prepared notes on current trends. Yet, my age was the punchline. Revenge doesn't start with fire, it starts with listening. I filed their names, Sarah and Tom. Sharp observers miss nothing. The meeting dragged, ideas flying, some weak. I bit my tongue, though I spotted flaws. Callahan nodded at their suggestions, ignoring my raised hand. Post-meeting, Sarah smirked my way. It fueled me. At lunch, alone, I jotted more notes, patterns of exclusion. My freelance past taught me resilience, clients valued results, not birthdays. Here, bias blinded them. The pain agitated, why judge before seeing my work? I vowed to turn it around. Quietly, I'd prove them wrong. Their jokes would backfire when my skills shone. For now, I refilled waters, listening closer. The fire built slowly. By week 3, I was itching for a real challenge. Then I spotted a draft campaign on Sarah's desk, riddled with basic mistakes, wrong audience targeting, outdated hashtags. No one was looking. I rewrote 3 sections, tightening copy, adding fresh angles from my freelance tricks. I left it where it was, slipping away. Heart racing, risky, but necessary. The next day, The campaign was praised in the meeting. Suddenly stronger, Callahan said, crediting the team. Sarah beamed, clueless. I hid my smile. My tweaks fixed the flow, made it punchier. No one suspected the too young intern. It felt like a small win, easing the pain of their mockery. But it agitated too. Why steal credit indirectly? I kept at it, observing more drafts, noting weaknesses. My notes grew: agency habits, client preferences. Freelancing taught me to spot gaps fast. Here, they moved slow, stuck in old ways. The silent trial boosted my confidence. If they wouldn't give me work, I'd insert myself. Soon, the changes would pile up, forcing them to notice. Underestimation was their mistake, mine was patience. Just before you continue to watch, please subscribe to this channel and like this video. It would encourage and help us keep creating amazing content for you. Alright, back to the story. A client dropped in unexpectedly. The team scrambled, papers shuffling, voices tense. I was told to stay quiet, just take notes. Halfway through, the client asked a question no one could answer. How do we pivot for Gen Z without alienating millennials? Silence stretched, awkward. Callahan fumbled. Sarah stared at her laptop. Against orders, I spoke up, calmly, confidently, with data I'd memorized from a late-night deep dive on trends. Blend user-generated content with nostalgia hooks. Stats show 40% engagement boost. The client leaned forward. And you are? Eyes turned to me, surprised. My pulse quickened. This was my moment. But Callahan cut in, our intern, Ava. The client nodded thoughtfully. Well, intern, that's spot on. Meeting wrapped positively, but the pain hit, dismissed again. Why silence talent? After, whispers, she got lucky. It agitated, my freelance had handled tougher queries. I noted it all. The client's glance lingered, like they saw potential. Little did the team know, this slip would snowball. Everyone froze after my input. Mr. Callahan quickly interrupted, she's just our intern. My cheeks burned, but I noticed the client's curious glance linger on me. After the call, Callahan hissed in the hall, don't ever speak unless spoken to. His warning was sharp, eyes narrowing. I nodded, understood. Inside, fury boiled. Narrow escape from praise, shoved back to silence. The pain twisted, my idea saved the meeting, yet credit vanished. Freelance days, clients thanked me directly, no chains. At my desk, I replayed the client's expression, they'd wanted more. Callahan's control felt like a cage, agitating my drive. Why fear a young voice? Harper, a quiet junior, whispered later, good call today. But even she glanced away nervously. Allies scarce here. I emailed myself notes, timestamps, what was said. Armor building. This wouldn't end with warnings. If they kept pushing, I'd push back smarter. The client's interest was a crack in their wall. Soon, it'd widen. Later, one of the junior associates slipped me a note, thanks for saving us today. It was the first acknowledgement I'd gotten, a whisper of validation. My heart lifted, maybe not everyone dismissed me. But minutes later, I overheard the same associate, Liam, joining in on a joke about me being baby-faced, with Sarah. Can she even drink legally? Laughter followed. It stung worse than silence, like a betrayal punch. The pain agitated, even allies could be cowards, folding to fit in. Freelancing taught independence, no fake friends. Here, loyalty shifted like sand. I crumpled the note, added to my folder. Relatable sting, like high school cliques, judging surface over substance. But it fueled me. I'd prove worth beyond age. Liam avoided my eyes after. Fine. I'd focus inward, build stronger. Their two-faced thanks showed the agency's rot. Pain turned to resolve, I'd rise above, let actions expose them. One night, staying late, I saw an urgent client email blinking unanswered on the shared inbox. Subject: Campaign Crisis. I drafted a response, factual, professional, precise, drawing from freelance fixes, pivot strategy, quick wins. I saved it as a draft and signed. The next morning, I watched Callahan hit send with his name attached. The client's reply pinged, perfect, exactly what I needed. Callahan puffed up with pride, high-fiving the team. My jaw clenched. Theft, plain. The pain hit, my words, his glory. Agitating, like pouring sweat into a pot others claimed. But I noted it, timestamps, original draft. Evidence stacking. Freelance taught ownership, here, they grabbed freely. Sarah clapped him. Brilliant. Inside, I chuckled bitterly. If only they knew. This pattern exposed cracks. I'd let them steal more, build my case. Soon, the truth would surface, turning their theft into my leverage. At a Friday happy hour, a tipsy senior exec laughed about how interns were cheap insurance. If something tanks, we just blame them. Everyone believes it. The table erupted in laughter, glasses clinking. I sipped my soda, letting the words etch into memory. The pain twisted, disposable shields for their mistakes. Relatable to anyone starting out, used, then tossed. Callahan nodded along, eyes glassy. Keeps the heat off us. My stomach churned. Freelance never had this toxicity, results mattered. I smiled faintly, blending in. But inside, resolve hardened. Their slip of the tongue was gold, admitting shady tactics. I noted names, quotes. As the night blurred, I left early. The laughter echoed, agitating. But it was fuel. If they saw me as blame bait, I'd flip it. My folder grew, this confession key. Revenge brewed slow, smart. A week later, chaos struck, a client's rebrand campaign was failing, bleeding money. Social backlash, metrics tanking. The team panicked in the war room. Callahan barked orders, but nothing coherent, scattered ideas, blame flying. I listened from the corner, taking notes. Their fixes were band-aids, needed deep pivot. That night, staying late, I mapped an alternative, audience resegment, fresh visuals, crisis comms from my freelance playbook. At 2 a.m., I emailed it to myself, just in case. Exhaustion hit, but satisfaction too. The pain of their mess agitated. Why flounder when solutions existed? Next day, they scrambled more. I held back, watching. My plan was solid, could save them. But would they listen to the kid? Evidence ready if needed. This test would show their desperation. If they sank further, my lifeline waited. The next day, I casually mentioned a few of my ideas in the meeting, subtle tweaks to the failing campaign. Callahan scoffed, "We don't take suggestions from interns." Laughter rippled. My cheeks burned, but I nodded. Hours later, frustration peaked. I discreetly forwarded my full plan to the client under unofficial thoughts, feel free to ignore. Personal email, no agency trace. Hands shook hitting send, risky, but the pain of dismissal pushed me. Freelance taught bold moves. Here, they blocked talent. If the client bit, it'd expose cracks. I waited, nerves taut. Would they reply? Ignore? Report me? The agency buzzed unaware. Callahan paraded half-baked fixes. This hidden delivery was my gamble. If it worked, power shifted. The agitation built, undervalued, yet capable. Soon, they'd see. 2 days passed. Silence from the client. I second-guessed, too bold. Then, the client's rep called the office, demanding me specifically. "We want Ava Leigh on this." My heart stopped as Callahan answered, face paling. His forced laugh sounded like nails on glass. "Of course, but she's just an intern." The client's reply was crisp, then promote her. We want Ava on this. The room hushed, eyes on me. Shock rippled. Callahan stammered. I hid my smile, the plan worked. They'd seen value in my unofficial ideas. Pain turned triumph, dismissed, now requested. Freelance instincts paid off. Callahan's control cracked. This callback changed everything. Callahan's face went purple. In front of the team, he slammed his fist on the table. Do you think you're smarter than me? His voice cracked with fury, veins bulging. I stayed calm, pulse racing. No. I just think the client knows what they want. The silence that followed was the loudest moment of my life, teams shifting uncomfortably. He pointed at the door. Out. I left, head high. Whispers trailed, she went behind his back. But the client's demand echoed louder. The outburst agitated old pains, belittled, now targeted. Yet, empowering, his rage showed fear. Freelance never had this drama, results ruled. Harper texted, HR incoming. Good. My notes ready. This wasn't end, it was escalation. Callahan's ego blinded him. Mine sharpened focus. I was summoned to HR. My stomach twisted, was I about to be fired? The director, Ms. Ellis, closed the door. Explain, she said neutrally. I laid it out, ignored ideas, stolen work, the email as last resort. Showed her saved drafts, timestamps, ignored notes. She nodded slowly, like puzzle pieces falling into place. Keep everything, she whispered. Everything. Relief washed, ally. The pain eased, finally heard. She hinted at patterns with Callahan. You're not alone. Leaving, resolve strengthened. This private meeting was turning point. Evidence mattered now. If they fired me, I'd fight. But the client's pull protected. Agitation turned strategy, armor up. Days later, the client formally requested me as their account lead. Not assistant. Lead. The office buzzed with disbelief, whispers, stares. Callahan tried to spin it as mentorship opportunity. But the client emailed directly, if I wasn't lead, they'd walk, millions at stake. Ms. Ellis called me, you're promoted. Effective now. My heart soared. The agency's hands tied by dollars. Pain of early mockery faded to triumph. Freelance prepared me, now, official. Team congratulated stiffly. Callahan's glare burned. This offer validated, age irrelevant, skills king. Agitating still, their reluctance showed bias. But I'd lead, prove more. Co-workers congratulated me through gritted teeth. You're lucky, Sarah said, smile forced. Others muttered, she must have something on them. Every compliment felt like a dagger wrapped in sugar. I smiled back, but every night replayed their week one laughter. This wasn't over, the quiet jealousy festered, eyes following me. Liam avoided me now. The promotion agitated them, young upstart rising fast. Relatable to underdogs everywhere, envy's sting. But it fueled me. I dove into the account, acing calls. Client praised, fresh perspective. Agency profits rose, yet resentment simmered. My folder grew, more notes on whispers. If they struck, ready. For now, I shone brighter, letting jealousy boil. I started compiling. Every belittling comment, stolen draft, gossip slip. Screenshots of emails, recordings of meetings, subtle, legal. It wasn't paranoia, it was armor against their bias. The file folder thickened. Timestamps proving my contributions, ignored suggestions. Freelance taught self-protection, here, essential. Pain agitated, too young, label still whispered. But compiling empowered, like building a shield. If they thought youth meant weakness, this would shatter it. Ms. Ellis nodded when I hinted at it. Smart. Allies forming. Nights, I reviewed, shady billing hints from happy hour. Agency rot deep. My rise threatened it. Armor ready for backlash. The client introduced me to their sister company, an even larger account, global reach. Suddenly, my workload tripled, strategies, pitches, crises. The agency praised publicly, our rising star. But behind scenes, Callahan tried intercepting my emails, claiming oversight. I switched to direct client comms, CCing only necessities. His frustration was radioactive, missed meetings, sharp tones. Leading felt natural, ideas flowed, results shown. Client raved, Ava's transforming us. Revenue spiked. But jealousy peaked, whispers of favoritism. Pain twisted, earned, yet doubted. Freelance was solo, here, politics. Big account meant leverage. If agency pushed, I could walk, with clients following. Power shift brewing. One Monday, I found out Callahan had rewritten one of my reports with deliberately inflated numbers, promising unreachable metrics. He sent it to the client as if it were mine, his name buried in CC. My pulse spiked, sabotage. The pain hit, framing me for failure. But instead of panicking, I let him send it. I had the clean version saved, timestamped, with backups. Freelance taught traps, this was one. I noted everything, access logs showing his edits. Agitation built, why destroy instead of collaborate? Ego. I waited, calm. The reveal would crush him. When the client spotted the false numbers, they demanded a conference call. This is unrealistic. Callahan blamed the intern error. My cue. Calmly, I shared my original, screenshotted metadata, email drafts, receipts proving tampering. Here's my version. Silence stretched. The client's rage turned. So you lied, Mr. Callahan? He stammered excuses. I stayed silent, letting evidence speak. Board listened in shock. Pain turned vindication, exposed. Relatable triumph, underdog bites back. Call ended with client demanding changes. Agency scrambled. My armor worked. Within a week, Callahan was quietly stripped of the account. He kept his title, but everyone knew, demoted in practice. His glares burned holes through me in hallways, whispers of backstabber. Instead of shrinking, I straightened. This wasn't revenge yet, it was survival. Leading without his shadow felt freeing. Team dynamics shifted, some respected me more, others wary. Pain lingered, their doubt. But results silenced most. Ms. Ellis winked, well played. Allies solidified. Demotion agitated him, fueled me. Bigger battles loomed. The HR director called me again. You're not the first intern he's tried to bury, she said softly, handing a folder of past complaints, silenced, ignored. Names, dates, patterns of theft, blame shifting. My chest tightened. It wasn't just me, systemic. The pain hit collective, others suffered quietly. She confided, with your evidence, we can act. I nodded. If I kept going, maybe stop the cycle. Folder joined mine. Armor grew. Relatable to victims everywhere, speaking up changes things. Resolve hardened, exposed the rot. Not for me alone. The client invited me to dinner. Over wine, they said they were considering moving their entire account, worth millions, to follow me. Start your firm, we'll sign day one. My heart raced. Loyalty to agency or freedom? The choice gnawed, stability versus risk. Pain of past mockery agitated, stay in toxic nest. Freelance roots called for independence. I weighed evidence folder as safety net. If I left, impact rippled. Decision loomed heavy. I resigned. Not quietly, strategically. My last day, I handed HR my armor, binder of evidence, emails, recordings. For the record, I said. Callahan cornered me in the hall, fuming. Before he spoke, I whispered, remember saying I was too young? Turns out I was just fast enough to beat you. His face, priceless shock. Team watched, whispers flying. I walked out head high. Pain turned closure. 3 months later, I walked into my own office. My own firm, small, scrappy, but real. On the desk, a bouquet, no card, just note, we asked for you by name. I chuckled. The words that humiliated now my crown. Clients followed, business boomed. Looking back, pain forged me. Their underestimation? My fuel. This wasn't end, just chapter 1 of bigger story. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, comment, and smash the subscribe button. Also check out other videos on the channel, we've got more interesting stories for you.